Fala, Dog Army. Vamos começar aqui em inglês. Estamos com o Leo e a turma toda. E depois vai ter as legendas. Então, quem não entender, ou usa um aplicativo para traduzir automático agora de AI, ou depois a gente faz as legendas. Welcome, Leonidas, our hero. Brazil loves you, man. Nice to have you here.
Well, it goes both ways. Brazil's my new favorite country. You guys are incredible. Dog, I'm very honored to be here and excited to get to chat with you guys. Unfortunately, in English, I'm a man of only one language. I apologize.
No, I try to invite all the guys that are guys and girls that was with me like last year, and people that really put Brazilians on originals, you know, because I think that we have this dog craziness in Brazil because just in the beginning we had a good base, people that received it, Runestones, and like these guys, like, and Surfista Crypto is from Portugal, so I invited a European to be with us, and Caio and Renan. Renan is the guy like that teach some us in some kind of things in the beginning. It's very nice to invite all these guys to be with you because I think this represents the Brazilian dog army, you know?
Look, I'm serious when I say this. You guys are like more powerful than the American dog army. And like you guys are a smaller country. Like this is genuinely, I was expecting maybe like there's a Chinese community that's like pretty big in ordinals. Apparently there's a huge Brazilian community, and you guys, it sounds like a lot of you are actually OGs in the space. I sort of feel bad that I haven't connected before now, but I'm just, again, honored to be here. And you guys are doing something very unique. And it's just, I don't know, like my feed is Portuguese half now when I go to Twitter, which is, you know, there's like the dog Twitter account that's in Portuguese that I follow, and you know, I steal some memes from that account. So I love being part of an international community. I think that's one of the best things about crypto is I get to wake up and go hang out with people who live literally in 20 different time zones around the world.
So who wants to do the first questions? I have a lot of questions for the community, but you're all my guests here in the channel, so please be my guest. Who wants to do the first question to Leo?
Girls first, no? First girls.
Yeah, first of all, hi Leo, my name is Cindy. First of all, I'd like to thank you because you gave us so much more than money. You gave us really lessons about how to create an ecosystem to make something free and fair. And this was really amazing because actually today we had the airdrop from ZK Sync coming, the checker, and I saw so many people celebrating, 17% of allocation. It was really nice. And when we look at Bitcoin, we have some tokens outside of dog. We have some tokens, some runes with 100% of allocation, and this is amazing because you said do not touch pre-mine, do not touch it, and you created culture, and this is amazing. I really thank you in the name of Multiversal community and in the name of many people that are here. I would like to thank you to start this conversation.
Well, I appreciate that, and I have to just give huge credit to Casey Rodamore and Domo Data, who were my inspiration for this. I saw these guys starting their protocols with just this wonderful, fair set of values where, you know, ordinals, anybody could go, you know, inscribe a low inscription number. These are worth multiple Bitcoin now, right? With BRC20, anybody could go mint Ordi. I thought these were really special ways to kickstart these protocols, and they ultimately created a culture that is just very different, right? Like literally on Solana, people were just tweeting addresses, sending tens of millions of dollars, and the Twitter account would disappear. And meanwhile, on Bitcoin, somebody's just trying to do a little team allocation on their meme coin, and they're getting destroyed in the replies. And I just loved the dynamic, and that is 100% because people like Domo and Casey made a conscious decision to make a culture like that and not do the sort of ICO culture that's very popular on other chains.
And that's pretty amazing, man, because in that kind of way, we can like be more fair, as you did in the launch of the dog, and I think it's going to be happening in the other airdrops as well that are coming for the Runestones. And so I'm really glad to be here today as well. I think it's a historical moment for Brazilians, because some kind of way we are like some, like the crypto market doesn't understand that the Brazilians are here, and they are here for the best, for the biggest changes, and they understand the technology, and they understand Brazil, they understand Bitcoin, they understand everything that is happening. And especially when Ornos launched, like in the beginning of the 2023, I always used your content, Leonidas, to teach people about Ornos, to teach people about what was happening in the Ornos ecosystem on my YouTube channel, and the most of the people didn't get in the beginning, but with the knowledge spreading, and and more people understanding what was happening the first time that we were having tokens on Bitcoin, it is pretty amazing to see this this kind of movement in the beginning, like fluorescent, like it create like in the beginning. And I really thought that it was a huge opportunity for the Brazilians to get it first, So that's why I always try to use not only your content, but another guys, but you were like a reference for me. And after all, the Brazilians could like participate on the markets and understand everything. So I appreciate for that. And I keep like looking forward and understanding that it's just the beginning, as I said, because we are seeing this biggest the biggest the biggest thing that happened in Bitcoin this whole 15 years, as I think. So what do you think? Where do you think Ornos are going? Where do you think Ornos and Runes are ahead? What do you think that they could achieve in the future with this kind of technology that we are having right now, and seeing this like a huge opportunity in front of us? What brings you and brights your like a vision on the market?
Yeah, so we have something that no other blockchains have, which is Bitcoin. Okay. We have the chain created by Satoshi Nakamoto. It's the largest, longest running, most secure blockchain. And I think of this chain as sort of like the final holdout where you could do NFTs and meme coins and DeFi on every other blockchain in crypto. But on Bitcoin, I think in my opinion, cultural reasons, it was not happening on Bitcoin. However, there wasn't really a technical reason why. Maybe it was a little bit harder to figure out, but ultimately it's very clear that the Bitcoin crypto economic system makes BTC, the currency, the most valuable digital asset. This thing is literally worth more than all other crypto combined. So we know when you use the power of Bitcoin, the crypto economic network, and apply it to a digital asset, there are properties that make it extremely valuable. We want to take those properties and apply them to meme coins, to artwork, to DeFi protocols, right? To games. Like we want to bring Web3 to Bitcoin. Maybe we don't call it Web3. Maybe we call it ordinals and runes. But fundamentally, Bitcoin as a blockchain, until about a year and a half ago, had a single use case. People would buy and hold Bitcoin. You couldn't even really use it as a currency, to be very honest with you. It was just a speculative store of value like gold. And now we have brought all of these use cases that other ecosystems have developed, and the opportunity of bringing that to Bitcoin is just massive given the scale of Bitcoin. And I think it's very important to understand that the timeline of blockchains and this technology is going to be written something like Satoshi Nakamoto creates the Bitcoin white paper, creates Bitcoin, and then a couple years later, this guy Vitalik Buterin comes along, creates Ethereum, creates smart contracts, creates a general purpose blockchain, and then people create applications and all of these different use cases for blockchain on top of it. And then finally, a decade later, it comes back to Bitcoin. That is the story. If you don't understand that that's the story, like, I can't help you. Like, that is clearly what's happening here. And we are in the early days, and DOG is just one of many tokens, many things happening on this chain. And I'm just extremely excited about pretty much that whole phenomenon of being able to be with you guys here and literally make history by bringing all of these use cases finally back home to Bitcoin, where I believe it will be their final resting place. This is where you will want to do these things in the future.
Your turn, Surfista.
Yeah, great take. First of all, I'm very glad to be here. A great word of thanks to you, Daniel, for bringing me among these crypto monsters in Portuguese language. That's the true Leonidas. You are among monsters in Brazil. I'm from Portugal. I learn a lot with these guys, but also with you. And so thanks a lot for the Runestone. But I think there's two waves on the ordinals on the ordinals history. So we have that first stage in early 23, and I think the big first wave was in May, June, after the first early birds. That was the first wave. Then we got the second wave in October, November, and then there's a mark there when Runestone comes out, and there what brought a lot of people to the space. That's fair drop that completely changed the game. So I want to make you some questions. Last cycle we saw Dodge, I think, hit a market cap on $95 billion, but we are in a very different cycle right now. We have much more competition. We have much more meme coins. We have an Indian kid that make like 10 new 10 coins on Solana every day. So that fragmentation, the goal is dog to the moon, dog to the $1 to 100 to I believe $1, I guess. No, so that will we to 10 be okay, but to 10. but we our first goal is to reach the $1 per dog. We will beat the last market cap of Dodge. Don't you think with all the options we have nowadays that liquidity fragmentation is a handicap and for this cycle for dog? What's your view? What's your take on that?
So in the 2021 cycle, we saw the emergence of a new asset class called meme coins. And it was a very nascent asset class that was mostly considered a novelty. People didn't really understand it. There was a select few small groups of people who sort of understood the game and were just creating all of the meme coins. And yes, like Doge definitely led the way. I think this cycle, the asset class has matured. And, you know, people will laugh at me for saying this, but we're talking about, you know, almost $100 billion of value stored in meme coins. This is a real asset class storing a significant portion of value. And this asset class is much more competitive than it was in 2021. Like, it's not, you had to be somewhat of a contrarian in 2021 to think that Dogecoin was going to $95 billion. Most people in the world did not think that. In 2024, the expectation is that Dogecoin is going back to $95 billion and probably way higher. And it's probably going to be an asset class that is taken, to a level similar to the way people think about Bitcoin or something. Like it's a very popular on-chain activity that has clear product market fit. And Dog's position in this asset class is that it is the leading asset on the Bitcoin blockchain. So fundamentally, Dog is positioned to be tied to the narrative of Bitcoin when it goes to the masses, right? So today, it's mostly the people who hold dog are crypto natives, right? So the crypto natives are fine to go to the base L2 on Ethereum and buy, the low market cap meme coins. But at scale, when Elon Musk is tweeting about it, when it's on the news, do people care about the weird meta on the base blockchain of some inside joke? No, they want the dog coin of Bitcoin. That narrative is fundamentally unbeatable. You can go to people around the world right now and ask them, would you rather hold the dog meme coin of Bitcoin or the dog meme coin of Solana? Like 100% of the time, they're going to tell you, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I've heard of Bitcoin, so I'm probably going to say Bitcoin. What we fundamentally have right now is a liquidity problem where all of these other chains have had a large head start on these meme coins. Meme coins have existed on Ethereum for now many years, right? And even Solana, for example, they have the Phantom wallet. They have these wallets that millions of people have downloaded so they can trade on the decentralized way. And they have some larger tier 1 centralized exchange listings. So we have the narrative, we have the foundation, we have the mind share. We do not have the liquidity yet. So we need to onboard more people into the wallets like Xverse on Bitcoin and increase liquidity on the decentralized side. And that will flow into DOG. And then we also need to bring DOG to centralized exchanges and allow the 200 million users, for example, on Binance to buy DOG. People want to buy DOG. The narrative is there. DOG is superior to these other testnet dogs. This is 100% a fact. The only problem is that they can't click a buy button on it. That's the problem. So we need to bring liquidity. In my mind, we've already won. We already have the best DOG. We just need to bring liquidity so that people can buy the DOG. People cannot buy the DOG today. That's the problem.
I wanted to give one step back, and after we talk about exchanges, all this kind of thing, I entered in the original space in September buying OMBs, because when I enter, I look into the market and see like, okay, now we're gonna have NFTs in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first league, is the best blockchain. Never had this kind of thing. So I'm gonna enter in the system and I'm gonna buy in the ecosystem. I'm gonna buy the best one. I talked to some guys, a few friends. Original Box Business was the most expensive on the time and looked like the best one. I paid like 0.2 Bitcoin.
Nice. Very nice.
Caio, the same. We start to talk it with a lot of Brazilians bought it because we show it. Like in the beginning, I had more OMBs than Caio, but Caio doesn't accept to be beaten and bought much more OMBs than me. He doesn't accept to have less NFTs in the wallet than a friend,
No, but actually, my friend here, Renan Pepe Congo, he also teach me a lot. So actually, I had to say it here at loud because he helped me a lot with understanding everything what was happening. And in the beginning, he was like a close friend that I could count to understand that everything that was happening. And actually, he got in Ornos really early, like in the beginning of the year of 2023. So he could say something here as well.
Mostly thank to Leonidas as well, part of this. First of all, nice to meet you, Leonidas. And it's regarding questions I'll leave for the audience and for Danny. But most of it, it's you're doing a great effort. You're not just important for dogs, but for the entire community since day one. Those back days when there was no marketplace, and all your conviction as a collector to all your posts, it built my conviction as well. I started minting here and there. We share same communities back then with Rob and all those guys, and you played a very important piece in the entire ecosystem, especially when ordinals were dead. That played a very nice factor as well for the entire airdrop that we gained these days from Runestone, because we were like taking advantage of those low fees and just like scribing as much as we could from different type of segments and
It's
Yeah,
gonna close a little bit.
and
Começou
lay
a
down all
cortar.
those derivatives, memes, or whatever we inscribed.
Começou a cortar, Renan. Começou a
Não,
cortar
corta
agora,
again.
né?
It's a little
É,
bit cut.
Can you hear me?
now, yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
yes.
it's pouring down here, but it's yeah, I'll try to be short. Most of it, just think of it. Thank to you, especially to you a lot, because you've been doing and you won't stop. I believe a lot on that you're doing a great job, and yeah, man, we are here for it. I don't have many questions regarding it because we are grinding as much, but it's beautiful to watch this whole movement happening, and yeah, I'm here for it. I'm a true believer. I have all my conviction built throughout the year, and a lot has been done with your effort as well. I can guarantee that. And with it was by October, more or less November, when we created this group, and I was trying to bring some infos and some education to these guys that were pretty happy about Ordinals and putting their first feet on it, and you were there on my sharings, from day 100%. So thanks for it, and keep the good job, because you are a great person for the entire ecosystem, not just for dogs, but for Ordinals, since Kase started the whole thing.
Well, we've been through a lot together. It's been a pretty wild year. Appreciate all the kind words, and looking forward to the next couple of years.
100%. We are together on
100%.
this.
Let's continue in my question. I talked about ONBs because that's the main reason we received the first meta on the runes, like rich guys, elite guys on the ordinal space received the first meta. And a couple days later, you introduced the idea of runestones. I am saying, right? This was like the the stage, or you already was thinking about something before R6? How was the inception of the runestones and the idea to do a free affair movement inside ordinals, giving prestige to the early adopters? How was this, the inception, the insight?
So winding the clock back a little bit further, I think people remember BRC 20 came out in March of 2023, and then Casey was an outspoken critic against this. He basically started probably around that time planning what he thought the fungible token protocol on Bitcoin should be. He then released a blog post, I believe it was in September roughly, on his blog outlining the Runes protocol. He then began working on it, and then 6 months later at block 840,000 at the halving was able to release that. Basically in January leading up to it, I think a lot of people started getting really excited about runes. So it became clear, like, this is now around the corner. This is coming up. This is the big meta of the space. Fungible tokens on Bitcoin is literally $1 trillion opportunity. And unfortunately, we all wanted to trade runes, but runes were not out yet. So RSIC did something pretty cool. And there's another project that actually did it before RSIC, and I'm spacing on the name right now. But a couple projects released ordinals collections that then would convert into runes after having when the protocol's live. These were called pre-runes collections. And I think the idea, it made a lot of sense. It allowed the market to develop a healthy sort of pre-market for runes and ultimately build a community before the protocol was even out. And I think ultimately that model was very successful, right? Runestone literally flipped Bored Ape Yacht Club. It was the foundation for Dog. This was a very important sort of strategy. I think RSIC definitely deserves credit for helping to pioneer that. And ultimately the genesis of like why Runestone and why Dog, right? I wanted the Dog token and Runestones to go to almost everyone. practically speaking, we can't cover every single person, but the vast majority, 112,383 wallets that were active in the first year of the Ordinals protocol received a runestone and then received dog. And I didn't want the runes protocol or a big airdrop to just be for the elite few. I wanted it to be to everyone, right? If you showed up and you participated in this protocol, you earned this just like everyone else. I think everybody on this stage right now is probably some form of an influencer or a whale. We all see how the world works. We know how crypto works. Why should we show up to something at the final hour and get all the best deals, right? When all these people showed up a year before us, and maybe they don't have the influence, maybe they don't have the followers, maybe they aren't whales, but they placed early bets in the ecosystem and helped get it to where it is. And I think that's an incredibly important thing that needs to be rewarded. And I tweeted out in September of 2023 when ordinals were basically at the very bottom and the morale was absolutely horrific. I'm telling you, it was so bad. People had completely given up, but there was a cohort of people who stuck around and were there. And I was like, guys, mark my words, I am going to make sure that you are not forgotten, because you, the people showing up right now, are worth 1,000 times more in my head than the people who show up when it's popping off like crazy a year from now or something again. Because these hype cycles are everything. It's the coins that can handle the downtimes that ultimately go up then the highest again. And that is absolutely how it works for all of these assets. It's a very volatile kind of industry that we're in. And I very much value the people who choose to stick around through the hard times. And I wanted those people to be rewarded with runestones and with dog. And that was a really important aspect of this that I think as a community, we should all be very proud of.
And how was your expectative before and after? How you look now to what you already done and expected in the beginning? How is this look?
So I'm a little bit of an overconfident person, unfortunately. So, we set out with the goal of flipping Dogecoin. So I'm going to be honest, I am delusionally optimistic. If you ask me, our coin is way better than Dogecoin already. We just don't have people able to buy it. So this is my honest answer to you guys. Like, let's send dog to the moon. I don't really have much else to say. Like, to me, we're still early and we have a lot to accomplish. But yes, it's been very fun. Obviously, flipping Bored Ape Yacht Club, going to almost $1 billion a couple of days ago. Like, these things are obviously exciting, but to me, it's not success. Success is very clear. I've been very specific about it from day one. Success looks like the #1 meme coin in the world being on the #1 blockchain on planet Earth.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
To the moon.
Danny used to say they are letting us dream. That's the sentence from Danny.
Yeah.
They are letting us dream with dog.
Yeah. Hey Leo, I have heard some people said about. I remember you saying about the 3 airdrops to runestone holders, and one it was dog. The second one, not necessarily in this order, the second, third, but other one it would be on the end of this year, and the other one it would be when and if we reach Doge market cap. And I don't know from where it begins this conversation, but I've heard some people saying that when dog reaches 1 billion market cap, my dog is here. She wants to she wants to appear. Yeah, and yeah, she wants to know. And there was many people saying that, when dog reaches 1 billion market cap, there's gonna be one airdrop. And I don't know from where this conversation begins, but I would like to hear from you about this.
What's the schedule?
Yeah, it was not for me. So people, unfortunately, the thing about social media is it's like you can follow my tweets, but look, I tweet a lot. It's hard to actually get to 99% of my tweets. 99% of my tweets are kind of like bull post excitement. And then 1% of my tweets are actually very important information that you probably should pay attention to. So sometimes that gets missed. So I've been pretty clear about this. But yeah, there is no extra coins, no dilution other than exactly what I specified. And it's important for the market to have predictability. So at $1 billion market cap, the only thing I've said and the only thing I will do is host a kick-ass Twitter space that I think will be very fun.
Yeah, it would be nice, like a 6 hours to it.
Only
space
6 hours. Only 6 hours.
That's been going already.
No, but
That's
like here in Brazil, we did once like a live stream for 24 hours. So we did for 24 hours straight.
I respect it.
a friend of us did. We did just 1 hour. He did.
Yeah. I say everybody. Everybody participated, but
We're
not
from
for
Brazil.
20 hours straight. Yeah.
So
Leo,
Leo,
but it's
do you have a
important.
team?
1 minute. It's important to come back in this discussion because we had a food in Brazilian
Yeah.
community about the launch of the second coin, because people said, oh, when hit 1 billion, they're gonna introduce the second coin, and this gonna dilute the first one. So sell first the 1 billion. This some kind of happened, this kind of food in Brazilian community. So please explain crystal clear, what's gonna be the second coin, the coin between the victory from Dog from Dodge, then right now.
Okay, so just to clarify, I will say exactly what's going to happen, and I will also clarify up front, nothing's happening at $1 billion. So nothing's remotely happening at $1 billion. There will be 3 coins airdropped to Runestone holders. The Runestones were the vehicle that carried 3 coins, 3 meme coins, non-utility meme coins. The first of those was Dog. Okay, this was airdropped about 45 days ago at the start of the Runes protocol. This coin has a single goal: to become the #1 meme coin in the world and flip Doge and become the top dog and bring glory to Bitcoin. There are 2 more meme coins that will be airdropped to Runestone holders. One, at the moment that Dog flips Dogecoin to become the #1 meme coin in the world and the top dog, then another meme coin will be airdropped to Runestone holders in a very similar fashion, basically to how Runestone received Dog, right? You'll just hold your Runestone. It doesn't matter if you have 10 Runestones, they can all be in one wallet. They can be across 10 wallets. It doesn't matter. I will announce very clearly a snapshot. It will all be very transparent. Nothing will be secret. Nothing will be, did you delist it? Oh, you didn't delist and then you don't get it. It will be very straightforward and clear. Okay. I'm not doing any tricks. Just want to make that very clear. I think people are skeptical because they've seen other airdrops where they kind of got manipulated or screwed. The whole point of this is to do what is best for Runestone holders and you guys, right? So ultimately, 1 meme coin will be airdropped to Runestone holders when Dog becomes the #1 meme coin in the world. And then another meme coin will be airdropped to Runestone holders at the end of this year. Okay. And on the dilution question, I think it's a great question, right? Ultimately, these 2 meme coins are going to have nothing to do with Dog, and they probably won't be an animal. So these will be different. And fundamentally, just as, for example, Ethereum can have a successful Shiba Inu and a Pepe, we can have multiple successful meme coins on Bitcoin. And the entire reason behind it is that ultimately, I believe there will be many meme coins on Bitcoin that are successful over time. And why not also make the top 3 free and fair and give those to the people, again, driving value back to the original OGs from 2023 who made all of this possible. We wouldn't be here without them. So that is like the idea behind that. And then I think it also will create, it'll be very fun. I have ideas for it. I don't want to give any more information than that because people start to speculate. I will make information clearly available to everyone, but just know that that is the situation. Nothing's happening at $1 billion. I'm not at all worried about dilution. Okay. We're all going to be in very good shape. If Dog is flipping Dogecoin, I don't think people are going to be too worried about dilution. And yeah, basically these 3 meme coins will be completely different from each other. They won't be like puppy versus dog or like even remotely part of the same narrative. The dog coin, at the end of the day, people in the masses are going to have no idea about the other tokens necessarily, right? Like they're just going to know dog coin of Bitcoin, which is dog. So to them, there is no concept of dilution or something like this, right? Because at scale, everybody is completely, it's just a mess. There's tens of millions of people around the world that hold dog, and they're not all going to know and understand that we're also doing this other meme coin necessarily. So these things will take on a life of their own and become their own things over time. So I'm personally not at all worried about dilution. And I think this is ultimately going to be a fun thing for the next year. And then these tokens are created, and then no more are created after this.
I was hoping you could give us some spoiler, but it's okay.
I'll say,
We expect this year the first one.
Look, dog is the first one, and the other two will not be dogs. I can clearly say they will not be dog related. Okay.
But so let's schedule another live stream when the airdrops are coming. You know.
I mean, that sounds good to me. I'm down.
Question,
We'll do
Sufista?
this.
Yeah, I was wondering if you about your tweets. So you tweet a lot. That's true, and we all know that. All of we have reposted some of your posts. Everyone on stage here. So my question is: do you have a team, or you do all it by yourself?
Dude, it's so funny. I'm in all these conversations with the central exchanges, and they're all like asking me like, can we do an ask me anything? We'll coordinate with your team. I'm like, not only do I not have a team, but there is no team for the entire project at all. Like, I don't think people understand that this is honestly modeled exactly after like what Satoshi did. Some dude was like, I have this kick-ass idea, gonna put this shit out there, and people can run with it if they like it. And that's all this is. And fundamentally, I am one person that had this idea. I tweeted the idea. A bunch of people donated money. And then we literally airdropped to a specific set of addresses. And that's it, right? That's all there is. So it's completely decentralized. There is none of this stuff. In my opinion, all of this other stuff that people do is very bearish for meme coins. Like, it means people are emphasizing value that is not lasting, right? BTC has lasting value because it built a real community of people who actually believe in the thing. If you're just a cheerleader for a team hoping that they're able to create the future of finance on top of your meme coin, like, this is going to end horribly for the meme coin. So ultimately, we want to model ourselves after Bitcoin. This is incredibly important. I see you have the visual up right now. That is what we're going to model ourselves after. Anytime people ask me, Leo, why didn't you do it this way? Why aren't we doing it like this? I'm like, did Satoshi do that when he created the most valuable digital asset ever? Obviously not. Okay. Like, we don't need to pay KOLs to go market this, right? Like, KOLs are bearish for the token. If it's organic, that is very bullish, right? It means there's actually something there that doesn't disappear a week later. So we're going to just
sorry, this I have to talk. Leo, one of the biggest banks in Brazil tried to hire Caio Vicentino to do a campaign. And Caio said, fuck off, I don't do campaigns for banks. And they do it for free to the dog community, man. This is fucking true. This is fucking true.
Facts.
Look, guys, like, this is the fun of this. I'm having so much fun with this. And I can feel good about it, right? Like, you can feel good about this. There is no shady situation where it's like we're a bunch of like hedge funds that teamed up, and then we hired some KOLs, and then we have our, marketing team, and then we're gonna, line up all the market makers and all this shit. It's like, guys, like, maybe that does work for some stuff, but I don't think it's how you create the next Dogecoin or the next Bitcoin. You might be able to pump this thing for the next couple of months and, make a nice pump, for in the short term. You're not going to create something of any value 10 years from now. And that is very important to me, that we are, inscribing the largest ordinals inscription and mining the largest Bitcoin block ever. Like, we want to literally and figuratively leave our stamp on the Bitcoin blockchain in the history of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
And that's what meme coins are doing. Like, they are paving the way for this whole new financial system that is being created in Bitcoin. So I'm really bullish on that, because that's the first way that we can, like, interact and have fun and trade and use Bitcoin blockchain as a whole, in a long time, since, like, many years, So I've been telling the people to watch about ordinals and runes for a while right now, and most of the people who understood everything, they could join. So that's why we have a huge live stream today, and also some days it's even huge, it's even bigger. But it's really nice to see some people here in the chat that they even couldn't understand English, and they still are here, So that's the community, that's the people, and that's why we are here. That's we are, like, creating and participating in those kinds of like experiments, because uh, I think that's the culture of Bitcoin. That's the culture of meme coins. I think that's the culture of blockchain. And we that are here for a while, like, I've been, I bought Bitcoin for the first time in 2019. So it's been a while right now, and I've been holding since, and buying each month a little bit more. But um, what I can say is, it's really nice to see that the community has engaged on this kind of experiments, because without the meme coins, without paving this way to this new ecosystem, this new financial world that we are living through, this new paradigm of economics, we wouldn't be able to find the best ways, the best opportunities, the most fair ways to distribute. And I think what's Dog done, what's other projects has done as well, are sick as well. I really liked it as well. Um, it's really different, because you guys had to think about everything, every aspect of the market, to make it happen. And as you said, Leonidas, many of other communities participated on the donations to make this happen. And so um, it's really nice to be here today and talk about this, man. And I feel for the whole community in Brazil. That is a historical moment for the Portuguese speakers and everybody who are interested in this crazy this crazy things that are happening in Bitcoin right now.
Well, look, I am completely honored that you guys even thought of inviting me here. Like, I'm seriously blown away by what your community has achieved, what, Brazil, Portugal, like what you guys have come together and done. I said this a couple weeks ago, but we hit $180 million market cap. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we started shooting up like crazy. And I see all of these Brazilian, Portuguese tweets on my timeline. And like, I genuinely believe like you guys were the catalyst for really kicking off not just Dog, but the whole Runes kind of explosion that happened in the last couple of weeks, which has also been great for the whole Bitcoin ecosystem, including Ordinals. So you guys are a powerful force in the ecosystem. You're an important force of this ecosystem. And I look forward to just continuing to grow the whole ecosystem and go to where we're headed, right there beside you guys.
How do you look the word distribution right now? Because you host the original show for a while, so you bring people to talk about. You're very democratic, the way you and the co-host do the spaces in Dog and the space on ordinal show. bringing people for all over the world. You worked with people from different places too to bring on dog. How do you see the other communities and the other places in the world in the runes expert and the ordinal expert right now?
So, I mean, there's a pretty large English speaking runes community, I would say, like a lot based in America, but also Europe, Australia, New Zealand. You know, I would say Asia is very large participators in BRC20, the protocol. And I think a lot of that has to do with Unisat, the company that built the indexer, is based in Asia, right? So they have rallied around the BRC20 protocol. And there's a little bit of a fight going on right now between the BRC20 protocol and the Runes protocol. I am of the belief there can only be one big fungible token standard on Bitcoin long term. And it seems like the West has chosen Runes and the East has chosen BRC20. And it's a little bit of it's an actual competition. And these things are similar market caps of all the tokens. And, you know, we'll see how this all plays out. But yeah, it's a very unique dynamic. But I mean, look, the kind of East, the Asian community has been large participators in just ordinals, BRC20 in the ecosystem for a while. Definitely an important part of the ecosystem. But like truly, this is not like, I would say Solana, for example, and even Ethereum, it's a largely American base. Like there is a fundamental base of just American values, American, just a lot of Americans. Okay, I'm here in America, right? So like, that's what a lot of Americans are focused on. I think Bitcoin in particular has always been more of an international thing. Like just, it's something to do with the mining community, you know, being spread throughout the world to different areas where there's electricity. And, you know, I don't fully understand it, but I think Bitcoin is world renowned, recognized. And then, you know, maybe Ethereum and Solana in many ways is more of an American focused phenomenon. I think because it's created by a lot of people who work and live in America, whereas Bitcoin just feels like more of an international community. And I think I personally felt that much more in the ordinals, in the Runes ecosystem than I did when I was on Ethereum. It's just a little bit different, right?
Yeah, it's totally different.
Theo,
But you know what? I've been traveling here in Europe for a few months, and some every place that I go, I always ask people in the streets, like in the bars and everything, if they understand Bitcoin, or if they have Bitcoin. And it's really crazy because like I was in Amsterdam like last week, and I was in a bar, and I ordered some beers, and I asked it for the waiter, if the guy had Bitcoin or have Bitcoin. You know what he said to me? He said like that. He said, "No, man. I respect my financials."
Pretty good.
Oh my god! And then I start to laugh, man. And then the guy, wow, he was like a pissed, you know, like angry, and it was. It was crazy, man. What the hell, man? You respect your financials, okay, my friend? Okay, let's go. Like, bring me a beer, my friend.
I didn't respected mine, so I fly business, stay in 5-star hotel because I didn't respected mine. Okay, no problem.
It's crazy, man. I think here in Europe, the people, I feel like in Brazil, the people are more interested in Bitcoin than in Europe.
Much more,
as a
much
whole.
more. It's a niche. It's a niche, and I believe that the countries that the central banks are more irresponsible will adopt first. And we have inflation, but not like Argentina, not like Nigeria, not like even Brazil, even Real. So I believe the adoption will start with the countries that suffer the most, but it
Yeah.
will spread because there's inflation everywhere. Leo, about that spike a few weeks ago on Dog, we have to give a big shout out to Danny. That spike on dog chart coincide with Danny here. That week I was on Ordinals Lisbon with Caio, and Runes was making the bottom, that double bottom on dog, and Danny started this movement, and dog never stopped. Just as I've corrected a little bit these last 2 days. So big shout out for you, Danny, and you
100%.
are bringing very value to the community and to this movement. Do you see this Leo, for you? Do you see this community strength elsewhere besides Brazil? In America, I just heard you in Asia they are looking more to BRC20. But where do you see more this strength on the dog community?
I think really like English speaking countries is pretty strong. Just like, again, a lot of Europe that's like, you know, pretty fluent in English. Definitely, like, I know some Germans, a lot of Americans, some Australians. I think Turkey has a, you know, pretty nice cohort of just like dog holders and runes community that's going on there. And, you know, it's kind of been just pretty scattered. Like, there's definitely a dog community in Asia as well. Like, I definitely don't want to, you know, fade them at all. Like, it's a very large community over there. I just think in general, it's still probably consensus in, you know, China and Asia that BRC20 is still the main protocol. And in the West, it's like we've completely kind of gone past that BRC20 is the future, and we're already all pretty much confident runes. So it's just a little bit of an interesting dynamic there. But I really mean this. It's an international movement. Like, if I was to create a pie chart of where all the holders are, I think it would be it would be a very healthy international distribution. I mean, I talked to people from Africa on Twitter Spaces, like just the other day. Like, people are from everywhere holding dog. And a lot of people, it's like a lot of people from many countries, the word Bitcoin means something to them. So then when they heard that there's NFTs on Bitcoin last year, they went and played around with it, and then they got a runestone. Like, this is the story of a lot of people. And for that reason, just very international. But I mean, you guys are definitely number one. Like, you guys are, you know, punching way above your weight, like per capita, right? Like, definitely. So, yeah, it's very international, though. I really can't emphasize enough that there's a lot of pockets of dog holders around the world.
Amazing.
Yeah, because in my view, the runes has advantage between runes and BR20s, because runes are UTXOs. The way you put data inside UTXOs is much better than the way BRC20s. So I would say it's advanced in the technology. Don't you think so, Leo?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like, look, fundamentally, Bitcoin's a UTXO-based protocol. So the way you would naturally create fungible tokens on Bitcoin would just be to copy how BTC works. BTC is already a fungible token on Bitcoin. It moves around in these packets called UTXOs. There's an input to a transaction. There are outputs to the transaction. This is literally how Bitcoin works. So to create a native fungible token standard on Bitcoin, I mean, it has to be UTXO based, right? It's literally how the blockchain works, right? So yes, like stronger security, better kind of decentralization. It's more open. It's anybody can independently verify. I think I don't want to turn this into fighting BRC20, but for a long period of time, nobody could verify the balance of an address. This is not good. On Bitcoin with the Runes protocol, it's very easy. Anybody can verify balances on their own. There's just very important principles like this that you get when you use the UTXO model. Plus, it works just natively with Bitcoin. It's just like sending a normal Bitcoin transaction. And there's a little Bitcoin in the UTXO, and then there's also a dog in the UTXO, and it just flows nicely throughout the Bitcoin network, and we track it the same way we track Bitcoin. And ultimately, I think there's some user experience advantages. You know, this whole idea of doing transfer inscriptions and building on top of the Ordinals protocol, you know, this is not an ideal situation. And then just lastly, to call out, you know, Casey intentionally made this as compact and small of a transaction size as possible. So we're not really feeling it right now. Fees are about 30 sat per VByte. It's not very expensive. But in the future, you know, in the peak of a bull run, probably for months on end, it'll be much higher than that. And runes will be significantly like like it doesn't matter right now if it costs $1 to transfer your dog versus $2 to transfer a BRC20 token. But if that all of a sudden becomes $100 to transfer dog and $200 to transfer a BRC20, to a lot of people, that makes a pretty big difference, right? So it's a smaller, more compact protocol that's, you know, using binary instead of JSON. Just a fundamentally sound fungible token standard on Bitcoin that I think would be pretty hard to improve on.
Nice.
Yeah, this is amazing because before runes, we have so many people who want to DJing. There's so many DJs that didn't even look to Bitcoin before because they didn't think I'll not get rich with Bitcoin. And now with these tokens that we have, they started to study Bitcoin. So this is amazing. The people started to know about UTXO, started to study. This is awesome. And I have a question. When Binance, Leo, when?
Look, I see people are like paying money to ask questions, and like some people are asking about Binance as the questions they're asking. Like, look, so I have a very, very boring answer here, is that I can't specifically discuss if I even have conversations with any exchanges, right? Unfortunately, centralized exchange listings have this phenomenon where it makes the price go up. So theoretically, if you have any information about it, you can front run the market. We have all experienced moments where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, some token on Coinbase, you know, that's not on Coinbase doubles. Literally nobody knows. It turns out some employee at Coinbase somehow leaked the information to somebody who then took a massive position in it and made a bunch of money with the trade. So these are sophisticated markets. Dog is, you know, $650 million asset. You know, this is people's real money that they worked very hard for. Everybody needs to have a fair opportunity to trade in this market and have access to information. So I can't answer specifically any conversations that I have with any exchanges, but I will say that, look, you'd be crazy not to add support for runes, like get that integrated into your exchanges. That takes time. There's compliance issues with that. But ultimately, you know, look, do you want to be on the forefront as an exchange of, you know, leading the way with Bitcoin fungible tokens, or do you want to be the exchange that is the last to do that, right? Like everybody's incentivized to integrate runes eventually, in my opinion. It's a matter of time. And ultimately, Dog is the leading rune by far. So it would be very weird to not list Dog as the first rune that you list. So the equation is pretty clear to me. Like, I think, you know, we got a centralized exchange listing yesterday. I'm talking to a lot of centralized exchanges. I think things are moving in the right direction. And it's just a matter of there's compliance issues. There is engineering teams actually having to integrate the protocol. And then there's basically getting liquidity to actually do the listing. So there's some steps to it, essentially. But we've done this now. I've worked with several teams to do this. Shout out to all the exchanges who have already listed Dog. You know, these guys are seriously, you know, Gate specifically, you know, listed us 24 hours after we dropped. Like, huge shout out to that team. You know, I think we're like the most traded meme coin on Gate.io, more than Dogecoin, more than, you know, Shiba Inu. So
they deserve. They deserve. No, and you know, listing is so important because the main reason I started to talk hard and do the community in Brazil, because in the same week I saw Ascending X, BitGet, and BingX day by day listing. After I saw that, I said, okay, this is runes number one, because all the exchanges are listing Dog. No, the most important in my view, when you're doing your portfolio allocation, yeah, you have to think, okay, I'm gonna spread something in runes. I wanna be in the number one. I love Dogs, but if it was another, no problem. When I looked at the free and fair movement, the movement that I love in my heart, was doing right in the numbers, being listed day by day on the exchanges and this kind of thing, then became a value investing proposition. Understand? This is what's very important in my view to bring that. And I would ask for you, how they touch you. They believe that you're doing this as a DAO service, like doing for a community, bringing more than you, they think you're lying and you have coins. They ask for coins. How is the treatment of the exchanges?
So,
Broadly
basically,
speaking.
yeah, like broadly speaking here, these conversations happen on Telegram. So basically the way this works is they will either reach out to you or you will have a contact. And, I'm basically in contacts with an insane amount of centralized exchanges, right? The conversation is happening and we just have a group on Telegram. Several of these I have had contact even before Dog came out and have given advice and helped people with, how to think about the Runes protocol and how to integrate. Some of these relationships have lasted for years. Okay. And, just for example, this morning I recorded a podcast with the head of growth at Kraken, right? Who happens to be a Runestone holder. So some of these people even are literally Runestone and Dog holders because they participated in ordinals. And, the industry is not that massive. Most of these centralized exchanges have a couple people that participated in ordinals and then got a Runestone. So through many different ways, somehow we get in contact. And then the conversation will basically go something along the lines of, if they talk first, they usually are just like asking questions about the token, trying to learn more. Some of the really small exchanges are just aggressively salespeople trying to, generate $50,000 in revenue, right? I kind of ignore those conversations, right? Like I can tell they're not going to get anywhere. But for like, top 25 centralized exchanges, it's mostly like these are smart people on teams. They have incentives to list tokens. If they bring volume to the market on their exchange, like they get, incentivized rewards for doing that. And, these listing teams will also sometimes have, there will be multiple listing teams at a single centralized exchange, and they're competing with each other to list tokens, right? So if there's a hot token coming out, they want their exchange to be on top of that. Like they want to bring a great asset to their, community, to their users, so that then they can make money, right? Like Coinbase, for example, still have if you're a Coinbase user, you're probably not very happy that you didn't have the ability to buy Pepe because now everybody made money except you, right? So you should have the choice. You should have these choices in front of you, right? Ultimately, it's a choice at the end of the day. So yeah, we have a conversation. It'll usually just revolve around me having to explain that we're a little bit of a different situation, right? And usually they understand, like they get it, right? I think some understand it a little bit less than others. I think probably some people do assume that I have a bunch of tokens and I'm lying to them, but they're not super into the ordinal space. They don't really have any backstory, right? So that's to be expected. And yeah, I think in general, people understand that you can list through the model of doing perps first and then spot next. People know that you can list through basically creating deposits and then 12 hours later opening up the market for spot. So there are definitely paths that a lot of these exchanges have used in the past for ways to basically list tokens without market makers. And this is not completely unique in that regard. So, it's like these teams are all sophisticated, smart people, very respectful conversations. And, I have the utmost respect for these teams.
How difficult is for them to embark runes protocol inside the exchanges?
So it is harder than just listing ERC20 because these is it super hard from an engineering perspective? No, but there's a lift because, let's say you want to list the new meme coin of Solana or the new meme coin of Ethereum. Well, the engineering work is already done. So literally you can very quickly vertically scale their product and just add another token. Okay. If they have to support runes, they have to basically get their engineering team to then go implement deposits into a Taproot address and then track the deposits and withdrawals. And it's the same as other blockchains, right? Like it's not like rocket science to do this, but their engineering team will usually take like a week or two to do this. So some of the exchanges that list runes early, these guys were already talking with me months before. So their engineering teams had already had rune support so that they could quickly list after the protocol came out.
Nice.
Amazing.
Nice. Amazing. Questions?
I'm mean, should we address, like, somebody donated $50? Should we just like answer some of these questions people paid?
Oh, we have a lot of donations. Some of them, let me to explain for you. Some are just joking. One you already answer about the two other drops. The others just really thinking, thanking, a lot of thanking. This guy asked about how to grow stronger in the US. Now, why do you think that dog's not going as strong in the US as it's in Brazil?
So a lot of the centralized exchanges that are listed, dog currently, when you're in the United States, they have geogating. So there's an IP address blocking software that these exchanges use, where unless you use a VPN, you're not going to be able to use the exchange. So if I just tell somebody who lives in the US, hey, like go to gate.io and buy dog, unless they're a decently sophisticated person that knows how to use a VPN, they're going to have a lot of trouble doing that, right? And ultimately for that reason, I tell them, like, there's several centralized exchanges that list it. You can pick one you like, or I recommend you just download X first, put Bitcoin in it, go to Magic Eden and buy dog. But that's a lot more hoops to jump through. What you really want is the exchanges that people are already on, the sites that people have already signed up for. They can just go click a button. And I think that is how you get a lot of adoption. Right now, dog is fighting with its hands tied behind its back, right? We're fighting against these other dogs that are listed on exchanges that allow US people to buy them very easily. A lot of people in the US can't buy dog very easily, and not everyone is going to go download X first and send Bitcoin to it and connect to Magic Eden and kind of do that dance. So it's a matter of liquidity. And people in the US unfortunately have this kind of geogating issue with pretty much every exchange that lists dog.
The other question is about reaching worldwide. Do you think you're already doing spaces talking about how to expand? Because people are thinking, oh, it's just Brazil, because in Brazil it's like a fever. This is true, but I think we have dog worldwide. But anyways, the question is how to spread worldwide. The first one is the America, and now worldwide.
So look, the foundation has been laid. The hard part is already done. Okay. It's now a matter of just having a community that continues to show up every day. And I think it will just organically spread if we keep showing up every day. I think it has a high virality coefficient where the next time where Bitcoin jumps from 65K to 85K, dog will be there with a massive community to rally in that moment and really have a huge leg up on dog. So I think a lot of onboarding comes down to, we need centralized exchange listings. This is very important. I really can't emphasize enough that liquidity is very important. But if we keep showing up, right, there will be some moment in some point in time where, the whole crypto market goes from, like, on coin market cap right now, there's a 60 out of 100 sort of fear and greed index. If we see that go up to 70, 80, meme coins will start ripping. And I think dog will just outperform a lot of meme coins. And I think it's those moments where you're going up where a lot of people are attracted. I do want to emphasize that there is a large United States community. Like, I would imagine most of my followers live in the United States, and a lot of them hold dog. And I think, like, we're doing good there, but just fundamentally, a lot of them are holding on the decentralized side. And we need to do work. Like, we really need a listing on a US based centralized exchange, right? I think this would be really, really important for, literally getting millions of Americans holding dog versus my, 100,000 people that, like, follow me and I'll download X first and do this, right?
The first distribution was fair and good and intelligent. So the base was nice. And I think was the most important, and right now, a lot of people are working to spread the news, I would say.
Yeah, man. I don't know. There's no question that the US is huge on dog as well, and runes as well. I don't think so. I think there is only the question of the liquidity, as Leonidas said, like the centralized exchange, when they list, is going to be huge. But I would like to understand the thoughts of Leonidas on um, OPCAT, and also what you think about OPCAT and what you think about L2s on Bitcoin.
Yeah, so OpCat L2s on Bitcoin, I think this is definitely very exciting. I think it's ultimately kind of the next paradigm and the future of Bitcoin is you will take your asset on L1 and bridge it to an L2, trade a bunch on the L2, do the liquidity pools, do the AMMs. And, today, an L2 on Bitcoin isn't really a real thing, right? L2s on Bitcoin today are mostly just side chains or blockchains where there is a trust assumption that when you bridge the tokens from the L1 to the L2, that some centralized entity is controlling those tokens and holding them on your behalf. So I think about it very similar to how if you were to just bridge your dog to Solana and trade it, I would think very similar to how you would, bridge dog to a Bitcoin L2 and trade it. So you can't really do true L2s on Bitcoin today. There's a protocol upgrade that's being proposed called OPCAT. And this will, not to get into details, but fundamentally what this will unlock is the ability to have trustless bridging of assets between layers on Bitcoin. And I think this is fundamental to having a ecosystem of a vibrant L2 ecosystem on Bitcoin. So this is interestingly one area where the laser eye maximalists, the traditional Bitcoin maximalists, and us completely agree. We're all in agreement that we scale Bitcoin not by increasing the block size, but by scaling in layers. So pretty much there's consensus that we need to scale Bitcoin in layers. And I think it's very logical that to scale Bitcoin in layers successfully, you have to be able to have trustless bridging. This is an obvious requirement to be taken seriously by anybody. So OPCAT is the leading proposal right now for that. There's a company called Taproot Wizards that's been really pushing that forward. Their CEO, Udi, has been pretty instrumental in that. He's been an OG in the ordinal space for a while. I'm sure a lot of you guys, know of Udi. And then there's just a bunch of kind of technical, even traditional Bitcoiners that don't hang out with us as much, who are really excited about this as well. So, Bitcoin takes a very long time, unfortunately, to go through the governance process, which is intentional. We don't want Bitcoin to change too quickly and lose what was great about it. But this seems, for the most part, to be a relatively low risk upgrade to Bitcoin that has a lot of benefits. So over the next 6 to 12 months, what will basically happen is there's going to be a lot of testing on Signet. So OpCat is on Bitcoin Signet today. People will create experiments. People will use this. People will try to break Signet with OpCat. And the hope is that in 3, 4, 5 months from now, people have successfully run the test on Signet. They've tested this from every possible angle. And then it'll be time to really push forward and say, look, we want to do this soft fork of Bitcoin. We need to basically have some sort of consensus mechanism for upgrading the protocol and doing a soft fork. Bitcoin has done this in the past with Segwit and Taproot. And what it'll basically look like is you're going to want the miners and the nodes to be on board with it. So you want miners running software that signals that at a certain percentage of miners and nodes running the software of the new kind of Bitcoin, but still actually running the old kind, but the software is on there to then run the new kind. Once it hits a certain amount, all the software will turn over and Bitcoin will have soft forked into the new version of Bitcoin that has OpCat. That is what the next 12 months looks like. And, I think it's more likely than not that OpCat does happen. I think it's still, you cannot underestimate the difficulty of upgrading the Bitcoin protocol. This has happened very few times in history and it's a very, very big deal. And I would say it's a big enough of a deal that, you'll see the BlackRocks of the world on major news stations talking about it. And the narrative, in my opinion, my hope is that, look, all of these other blockchains that compete with Bitcoin have the ability to do all of this stuff that people like, and that's why they're successful, and Bitcoin can't do it. And this brings that to Bitcoin and kind of makes those chains less important and less relevant, which is ultimately bullish for people who hold BTC. And a lot of people in the world hold BTC. So we have a ways to go for this. The conversation is still mostly amongst crypto natives. But the final step will be a conversation amongst a lot of people. It will be in headlines of major news outlets. Like, it will be conversations on major news channels. And, you know, Bitcoin will hopefully go through this process and come out the other side stronger for it. And we'll hopefully have the ability to basically take runes and dog and, you know, bridge it over to L2s and do all sorts of fun, crazy DeFi stuff.
Yeah,
There are some theorists that believe that Opcat will bring censorship to Bitcoin. Have you heard that? Do you believe that's a problem? That's a deal I don't want to make. You know, if it brings censorship, if it's another, it's not. If it has censorship, it's not Bitcoin.
Yeah. So my take here is that I haven't actually heard much about the censorship argument. I would be interested to hear the line of reasoning there. I think the general hesitancy is the unknown. On paper, this shouldn't be that big of a deal. It's a couple lines of code. It shouldn't be very risky. It's not. It on paper should not impact the network very much. If you think about Taproot though and SegWit, nobody could predict the unintended consequence of Casey Rodamore coming along 5 years later and starting to rip JPEGs into the block space, right? So, you know, you can't predict the future super easily. So it's really a question of, do we want to risk going into the unknown where it should work? It probably will be fine, but there is some risk about changing something that's worked really well for the past 16 years. So
The censorship, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Cindy.
The censorship was about the Andreas Antonopoulos. He was always against recursive covenants. This is what OPCAT brings, the covenants recursives. And because of that, it's like we could have programmation on Bitcoin, and it's like the government would say, this UTXO is only gonna be it's only gonna be sold to who makes the KYC. That's their concern.
Yeah. So look, my take is, I think the reality today, and I think we have to be very honest with ourselves about this, you know, Bitcoin mining is somewhat centralized today. Like, the United States government, it's tough. Like, the United States government has a lot of influence in the world. And if they went around and told all of the Bitcoin miners and all of the hash rate, you know, these mining pools, that they need to start censoring transactions, like, I'm not sure if Bitcoin is big enough to withstand that attack today. We need to grow Bitcoin, and this is part of the reason why DOG exists. We need to onboard people to Bitcoin as fast as possible so that the Bitcoin network becomes stronger and more resilient and more resistant to a nation state attack that I'm kind of describing. So to me today, look, I think Bitcoin is the most resistant to a nation state attack, but I would not say in its current state, especially with, you know, there's a few very large mining pools. I think it is a concern that there could be censorship even today if something like the United States government decided that it wanted to censor certain transactions. So it's a touchy situation. I think there will always be hash rate outside of the jurisdiction of, you know, Bitcoin, people always running nodes that are different, but it's it's tough. I have to think more about the impact of OpCat to really answer the question, but I think we should beat these questions to death. Like, we should ask and talk about these questions a lot and really have the hard conversations and make sure that we don't do something stupid that we regret later. So I think Andreas, you know, when I joined crypto in 2013, he was the guy, he was the man. Okay. That guy knows what's up. And I definitely would take what he says with it, you know, I would put heed to what he says. He's a smart guy.
And he still is. I think he's a really smart guy as well. He teach me a lot about Bitcoin in the beginning when I was entering. A lot. And I think, that's the concern about the OPCAT. There always when we go to this topic, the people get, so the people get concerned about some centralization. I was in Lisbon and I was talking to Miguel, the Sofista crypto here, and Miguel was telling me about his concerns, and some people were talking that we were talking about those kinds of things in Ornos Lisbon. They were at the same concern, so we need to get it to a point to mature the idea and make it more clear for everyone to understand what is coming, and maybe um, spread the real word about that, so um, I think it's going to be a long way until that day arrive.
Yeah, this is the beauty of Bitcoin's governance process. Nobody right now can just go force this through. This will take time. There will be plenty of breathing room to discuss the trade-offs. And I think, the conversation is really just starting over the past month and a half, roughly. So we got a long ways to go, and we'll see, we'll see where the conversation goes. It's ultimately about weighing pros and cons at the end of the day.
I have a question here. I have a question here for the audience and the community before asked me as well on the Twitter. No, Leonidas, what do you think of the idea of a stimulus for the second airdrop, such as holding runestones plus dog to be eligible for the second airdrop? This question comes in the way the people asked me in the community about other ways to give utility to dogs. One idea that came is to open a Discord and use Matrica to just allow people to have at least 1 million dogs to be inside the Discord, like would be a 1 million dog Discord club. Uh, this is the other idea. Good idea, I would say. Like if you want to receive more, because like 100% minted, if you want to receive, I know, more than just the normal, you have to have the runestone, and so I don't know how many dogs. This idea is not bad. What do you think about the idea to try to give some kind of utility for dog?
Yeah. So as far as the Discord goes, I can kind of quickly answer that. I run a Runestone Discord, and I probably got myself into too much there. Like I run a company, or.io. I'm trying to tweet all day. I'm hosting a podcast. I have a lot going on, and running a Discord takes a lot of time. So I'm probably not going to be the best person to go spin up the Discord. I do know that, like, look, anybody can go create a Discord, set up Matrica, and build a dog Discord, right? Like, I think there's a lot of Telegram groups already. So I think it's a great idea. And I definitely encourage people to go create a group of just holders of a certain amount of dog. I think that's a great idea. As far as incentivization, look, the Runestone is the vehicle of the 3 tokens. I think it's very important that I don't go back on my word, that I keep things very clear. If you like, it doesn't even matter if it's a good idea. Maybe it is a great idea, right? But the problem is when you have a founder or somebody who's viewed as a founder who's flip-flopping, or they're changing it and then they're adding to it. Look, people are speculating and buying runestones right now, like under the assumption that dog is going to them. And it's very important to me that I am not it's a very significant thing to change what you say in regards to a token distribution or something. So I have to follow exactly what I've said. Maybe there would have been better ways to do things, but at this point, we're going to stick with basically a very simple situation, like I said, where these second, and third meme coins will go to Runestone holders, and just going to keep it very simple like that, purely out of a predictability for the market, where the market doesn't have to have this founder figure telling one thing one day and then it changes tomorrow. Well, what's to say then that he says, oh, dog is no longer the token, come buy cat. This is my new one, cat. I want to be a non-risk for the project. I don't want my voice. I don't want anybody to be thinking my voice is going to be used to like change things up or do anything different. So predictability is incredibly important. It's why Satoshi left Bitcoin. It's why Ethereum has, Vitalik has intentionally stepped away from Ethereum because of this problem. When you're creating stores of value, decentralization is what makes it incredibly valuable, because then there's no risk of a centralized party wrecking the value. It's always, humans always screw it up, right? individual greedy humans like me will always screw it up. So we need to remove that risk. And this is part of why I didn't buy dog tokens. I don't sell dog tokens. I received the 4.5 million dog tokens like you guys did, and I just hold them because I don't want to be a risk for the project. Founders are unfortunately viewed by the market as huge volatility risks, where this person's mind, for whatever reason, can change. And we don't want that with dog. Like, dog is just dog. Dog is not Leonidas's pet dog. It is dog. It's much bigger than me. I'm not changing anything that I said in regards to this because I think it's very important that people can make decisions based on a set amount of information that they know is not going to change.
Beautiful.
That's really important.
Beautiful, very beautiful. The guy that most paid is just to say, on behalf of Brazilian dog lovers, want to thank you for make dog a reality and let many OG holders dream about a possible life changing down the road. We are dreaming and building this with you. Count on us all the way. Thanks, Danny, Kyle, Cindy, and all. We have a lot of people paying today, Leonidas, just to thanks. A lot of people very happy to what already Dog and Runestone accomplished, and this is very beautiful to see.
I think the whole ecosystem, the whole runes ecosystem has been growing a lot, and Ordnos as well. So I'm also happy to see this. I'm also happy to see that the movement is growing, and the people here from Brazil, they got the idea early, and then they could come in early and participate on the airdrops and everything. So it's really nice to see that has happened, and see that that's the first experiment on the blockchain of Bitcoin that is taking traction in the whole world. So it's really nice to see and look forward for the future of dog and all the space of orders and runes that I am really bullish on, and I think it's gonna grow a lot. It's not only because of greedy, because we all like to make money, but I think it's gonna grow because it's really part of the culture of the people here in Bitcoin in the early days, of those kind of technologies. So it's really nice, man, to see everything happening in front of our eyes, and we can also be here talking to the people, and teaching, and some kinds for them to understand what is happening, and become part of the whole story. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, look, it's so awesome to be part of this. The people I've gotten to meet, including yourselves, like it's a huge honor, and it's so fun getting to meet you guys. And I think once you kind of understand that there is no such thing as Bitcoin, there is no such thing as dog. It's a group of people who have an idea in their head. That's the only thing that's real. Cryptocurrencies are intangible. They don't actually exist, right? But the dog army is dog. And like, once you understand that that is everything, this whole space is going to make way more sense to people. And it's, again, the people are the core of everything. And it's just an honor to get to be part of this group with you guys.
Most of the time of this live, I show the image of the number one blockchain, the Bitcoin, and all the characteristics that made Bitcoin the number one. And the other side, I put the first meme coin in our hearts. And they are more beautiful because it's a little puppy, Jokes apart, when you look both, you see kind of the same idea. Why? Bitcoin in the beginning was given for the pioneers, for people that was there in the beginning when they are mining 50 Bitcoins in a computer using fucking enough in energy, and fine. The pioneers received first Bitcoins. They became passionate about Bitcoin, and they spread it in the world, teaching in universities, giving Bitcoin for free in very different places. They did the community. Right now, maybe 15 years later, 14 years later, we are seeing some of these characteristics in the dog community. The dog community was distributed in a far way, given then for the pioneers, using a pioneer meta protocol to introduce UTXOs and meme coins on Bitcoin. It's a very nice experiment. It's good to put some dreams and some expectation in a thing like that. And it's very nice to have a leader like you, Leonidas, because you are fucking hard worker and you treat people very well. You know the way you treat people in the dog space and in the dog and ordinal show, the way you expose people that are working for the dog community, like retweeting and asking people to follow them, and all the energy that the dog is getting, this do that do this is amazing to see, man. Like me, my channel, I'm working like 1 hour and a half, having Kyle and a lot of people backing me up, and I was almost 6,000 people. Today, just today, I made 10,000. I brought 4,000 people in 30 days talking about dog and all this craziness in Brazil, you know? So I feel this energy by myself. So I would like to congratulate you one time more to have this idea, to take this flag about free and fairness, and to allow a lot of Brazilians to dream about to have the meme coin that will beat Dodge and become the number one meme coin and the number one blockchain. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Amazing.
Leo, I
Really,
got one last.
really amazing.
I got one question about a rumor that spreads in the crypto space.
Yeah.
After Ordinals Lisbon. So after Ordinals Lisbon ended, some people said you were there. Was you there?
So look, I was not there. Somebody who I know had created a Ord.io hat. So Ord.io is my company, right? They created a logo of Ord.io and put it on their hat, and then walked around. And then my friend Jan took a photo, and it didn't show the face, but it showed the Ord.io hat, and he said, "I finally got to meet Leo." So that's literally all that was. But yes, a lot of people messaged me. I think the reasonable is something like, it's probably not normal for, like, this person was just kind of having fun, but I think it's decent to assume that I was actually there. Like, all my friends are there, you know, everybody I know is there. So you know, I probably should have been there, but you know, maybe I'll go at some point to a conference. But I was unfortunately not.
I met Trevor there. It was amazing. Nice. Trevor and other guys as well. The founder of the what's the name?
Seize Control.
Seize Control, yeah, Seize Control.
Nice.
The founder of Seize Control, and other ones. It was really nice, man. The Ordinals Lisbon. It was full of experiences. It was really nice.
People loved it. People loved Lisbon. They loved just the conference in general. It all sounds like it went really well. So I'm very, very happy that Trevor. I know Trevor worked really hard on that. Jan also worked hard on that.
Congrats to Trevor. He's your co-host on Ordinal Show, right?
Correct. Yep. Trevor and Jan are both my co-hosts. They both have put on entire conferences, and I have just done tweeting. All I do is tweet, but you know.
But you tweet a lot.
I tweet a lot.
With no intern.
Yeah. So guys, I don't trust somebody to run my account, right? Like if I paid somebody, do you think I'm gonna trust them to put out good tweets? You know, definitely not, right? Yeah, I definitely am the only person who's ever tweeted from my Twitter account, except I think maybe once or twice somebody's translated something for me, and then I'll kind of check it and make sure I agree with it, and I'll put it out just because I don't speak the language. But yeah, it's always me tweeting, and yeah, we should do this again sometime. Maybe when Dog, hits an all-time high or hits $1 billion or something, we should do another one of these.
Any more questions? Renan, do you want to do any
I
question?
have one question for you if you guys have a moment.
For sure.
Yeah, look,
Any questions? How many
what
do
do
you
you
like?
think it is that you guys are doing in Brazil, like that, is just so unique and sets you guys apart? Like, is it just the people I'm talking to right now are, really, really big believers in Bitcoin, clearly, and Dog and Free and Fair, and are kind of catalyzing a movement? Or like, what do you think it is about your community, your country, Portuguese speakers that's really resonating with? Because it's not the same in every country. I hope you guys realize that.
I think I can say I created my YouTube channel like in 2018, in the last day of 2018, and I've been talking about crypto and Bitcoin, everything that happened since decentralized finance, and teaching a lot of people, thousands of people around here. And what I saw is that the community here in Brazil has grown a lot. Like in the early days, we did like live streams, and like in 2019, me and my other partners who did live streams, we were doing for like a 12 people, 20 people, and it was not big audience as now. And then we consistently bring the content about the Bitcoin, about Ethereum, about everything, and the people got more knowledge. And at least in my channel, I always told the people to create content about Bitcoin, because I couldn't do by myself to reach 1 million people. So I always try to incentivize and engage people to talk about this fantastic things that changed my life and my family's life. And we are passionate because here in Brazil, yeah, actually, I'm in Germany right now, but in Brazil, the people suffer a lot because of the government. The government screw everything, the currency, and the people are tired of it, and they try to understand the possibilities that they have. And for you to understand how big crypto is, man, here in Brazil, like the people in Brazil trade more crypto than stocks.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
So
wild.
we
Twice
have
more. Twice more.
we have twice more people trading crypto than stocks here in Brazil. So it's really huge, man. And I think that's part of the knowledge that the whole content creators here have been doing for a while. Like we had a big one that left content creation because he was persecuted by the judge and the politicians and everyone, and he had to stop creating content.
Mhm.
Daniel Fraga, and most of the people got
But now
inspired by
he's not
this guy.
political. He started to talk bad things about the IRS. They say to the Brazilian IRS, "Fuck you, IRS! I'm gonna make you suffer." Blah blah blah. Crazy guy. He did this like in 2022, 2023. Daniel
No,
Fraga is like a
it was
masterpiece.
2020, no, 2012, 2013,
Oh, yeah,
not
13,
2023. Yeah,
12, 12.
early
Yeah.
days. Yeah, 12, 13. So he was like a, a, a person who brought many knowledge here to Brazilians. And then the people started to feel the the power of the freedom that they have when they get Bitcoin. And that's why most of the people in Brazil trade more crypto than stocks, man, because our currency sucks, and our government is the one of the worst in the world. So that's what I think the Brazilians do. That's why Brazilians love decentralized finance as well, because they understand that there is a way that they can make money wherever they are, providing liquidity and using Uniswap as a whole to make money. Many of the Brazilians are doing this right now, providing liquidity on decentralized exchange. So I'm really glad to say that I could bring this kind of knowledge to Brazilians and the Portuguese language, and it's really nice to see how big that has become.
Wow.
Yeah. Caio is my brother. That's why I started to study.
I saw the
this
name, Vicentino. I knew it was okay.
Yeah, he's my brother, and this is why I started to study this market. And I believe we have really, really, really good, rich, good, great content on YouTube, on every social medias here on Brazil. We have really good content about this market here, and we were expecting the room launchings, the rooms launching. We already knew there was about to come, and we were preparing, we were educating, and I believe this was a construction about what was going to happen. And when the halving came, the people were prepared. It's like the people knew how to interact, knew how to speculate, and this contributed also.
Man, Leonidas, in Brazil in the 19th, like 30 years ago, we had a president that just froze all the accounts. Like you have money in your bank account, and because we had big inflation at that time, they made the economic plan. Like, I have idea to control inflation. Let's froze all money in their bank accounts.
Wow.
That's not joke. That's serious. Like my grandfather, he was with cancer at that time, and he had money. He worked his life to have money when he was 70, and he was paying the treatment of cancer, and he had problems. He
Wow.
paid one way or another because he made a way, but by the government it was freeze. He had money abroad. That's why he had money to pay the treatment. Otherwise, he was fucked. But Brazil saw that happen 30 years ago. The same in Argentina. Argentina has a lot of problems with the currency in the last years. So the Ethereum community is very, very powerful there for the number of persons that resides in Argentina, no, broadly speaking. Uh, Bitcoin as well is a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people working in the Bitcoin ecosystem for a while. It's from Argentina because they faced the same problems. So I would say this is one of the biggest reasons, and the other biggest reason is because uh, we teach people about ordinals last year. So a lot of Brazilians that did free mints, mints that they paid $20, $10, they received a runestone.
Nice.
So this is very, very important for them. Some of them received more than one because they didn't do wallets. I don't know. So all these things together make it the community so strong right now, I would say.
Wow. Yeah, lots of very insightful information there. I think it sounds like specifically just historical precedent. You guys are clearly students of history, and this is part of your history, and you just realize that it's only a matter of time. Like if you don't control your money, somebody else does. It's only a matter of time until that gets used in a way you don't want it to. And this is just, replicated throughout human history, right? This is why, we had the gold standard for a very long time. And it actually worked pretty darn well. And then we got greedy and moved away from the gold standard. And then now everything's just highly manipulated. And this is in every country, including the US, right? And I know there's different spectrums of this, but yeah, look, Bitcoin, it's you and the Bitcoin and nothing in between. And it's you and the dog and nothing in between. Like this is, fundamental. This is the innovation of blockchains. And it's why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin, because other blockchains maybe don't take the importance of that lesson. And the real reason why Bitcoin is so special, they don't necessarily value it, right? When they do their NFTs, they put entities in between the NFT and the holder so that they can be forced to pay a royalty tax and these sort of things. And I'm not
Good old testnet.
Yeah, like look, it's hard to explain, but it's crystal clear in my head that like Satoshi invented this thing and people are like kind of using it to do things, but they're not really leveraging the real power of the thing, which is that you can have a decentralized community and that you can own the asset without anybody telling you what you can do with it. And like that's the whole point of why I think we should all be here, really, and like the whole benefit. And like let's double down on those things. Let's bring all this to Bitcoin and do it the Bitcoin way and not do it the sort of hybrid decentralized way on these other chains. Like I think they're fun experiments on other chains, but it all ultimately should all end up with Bitcoin's values. I think that's very important for the ecosystem.
Yeah.
True, really true. Any more questions?
I think we can wrap up it right now.
I'm gonna thank you all the audience. More than 1,000, more than almost 1,000 and a half people seeing us through 2 channels. Thousands and thousands of people on Twitter. I would thank you, everyone. Thank you all the team that came to receive Leonidas, because just me was too much pressure. I have to invite all these OGs to be with us. And thanks, Leo, to spend time with the Brazilian community and to be this nice guy that made this dream and made so much people to dream of together. It's very nice to be part of this, man.
It's an honor to be here. Can I say something super quickly?
Of course.
Sure.
How long do you want?
Okay, so bear with me. I'm going to try to say this. So, obrigado por me receber. Cachorro ahite a lua. I don't know if that got
Cachorro até a lua. Amazing, man. Amazing to connect, amazing to have this live stream, and just a few words in Portuguese right now. Aí, galera, valeu, foi top demais. Obrigado aí a todo mundo que participou aí também, foi foda. Vão deixando o like, compartilha essa live, que realmente é um movimento histórico aí, porque a gente está conectando o Brasil cada vez mais com, aliás, a língua portuguesa, né? Cada vez mais com o mundo inglês, o pessoal lá fora, os gringos. Então, pô, foda demais da gente estar aqui com o Leonidas hoje. Uma experiência única aí, com certeza agregou valor aí para muita gente aqui no Brasil. Obrigado aí também ao Daniel aí que participou e todo mundo que estava aqui na live aí. Tamo junto.
Queria agradecer também. Vamos fazer a legenda rapidamente e deixar o testemunho que foi muito legal de participar e ver um cara sério, sabe? É legal você promover uma moeda que é um cara que vem e tem um papo reto. Esse papo foi um papo reto, não fizemos todas as perguntas e muito bacana. Muito obrigado a todos vocês aí que participaram aqui dentro e fora.
Thank you, Leo. It was really an honor to be here with you, with Sufista, Daniel. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for Kyle, that I'm here because he was in my mind. And thank you, everyone from the chat. Obrigado, pessoal. Vamos pra cima. Foi show essa live. E é isso.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Leo, as well. And your transparency was great to hear. Have someone behind the project with your mindset, ok? Obrigadão, pessoal. Um abraço para o Brasil forte, um grande abraço ao Daniel, abraço a vocês todos por me terem convidado e dado a oportunidade de estar aí com essas feras. Rapaziada de Portugal também. se liguem nestas férias. Vocês já sabem, vocês estão carecas de saber, mas cabe-me reforçar. Estamos juntos.
Renan, quer dar uma palavra final, meu querido? Nosso OG, ele tá meio fora da internet, né? Então, thank you, Leo. Renan?
Tá bem ruim, cara. Just obrigadão aí, você meio rápido, tá, se der para ouvir aí, mas é só agradecer todo mundo aí da live. Leonardo, was a pleasure. And yeah, looking forward for the next one once we hit that billion.
I'll be back.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Valeu.